During the Union, Representative Al Green, that was the black guy who's 77 years old from Texas. He's also the first person to introduce an impeachment during Trump's first term, which he was impeached, and he introduced a impeachment this term, but of course he didn't get it. It was for prosperity because the Democrats don't have a majority rule, so they couldn't impeach him. But what I'm saying is that he stood up and protested. Here's my problem, and black folks understand this. They understand this. Why is he the only one that stood up? There's supposed to be a black caucus, right? All they did is hold up signs, little black signs, and protested fake or liar or blah, blah. They just held up signs, okay? Like the coyote does, the cartoon coyote does, where he holds up a sign, which did nothing. It was a weak protest. And if anything, when he stood up, they should have stood up with him. And they should have stood with him. And the reason I say black people can resonate to this is because they left him hanging. Just like black people feel they were left hanging during the election. They feel like they're alone because there's no way in the world they should have been treated like this. There's no way in the world they should have been put down like this and non-supported. That's why you don't see black people in a lot of stuff in these protests and stuff. There are things we are doing, like I'm telling black folks, reach out to your Congress, blah, blah. Not for Democrats, not for them. To heck with them. I'm talking about for us, because there are millions of us, tens of millions of us on Medicaid, Medicare, Affordable Care Act, veterans benefits, Social Security. So we are doing for us. You and I got to do for you and I. But we are very side-eyed with other groups because where's this so-called black caucus who didn't show up and stand with them? Even if you weren't there, that's one thing. But if you were there, why didn't you stand up with him? Why didn't you stand by that man? He stood up by himself, and bravo for him. Even Colbert had a joke about it. He said, yeah, they stood him up, and they wondered why there was so much security on him. Turns out they found something on him that the other Democrats didn't have, a spine. It's like they're right. It's like, why are we always standing? Black folks are the forefront of civil rights. Let's be clear. For 160 years, literally this year, it marks 160 years. As of December 5th of this year, it'll be 160 years since the 13th Amendment was ratified, since we've been fighting for freedom. And all of a sudden here, this is a hot mess because they are not standing strong. Now, the people who are standing strong, the judicial branch, they've been on business. Out of 37 rulings, we've won 36. Out of 27 rulings, we won 26. And today, we won the Supreme Court. All right? So, I mean, we are winning in the courts, and they're enforcing it. And yes, the Trump administration is backing down and doing what the court says, in case you're wondering. I'm trying to get you to understand there are places we're winning, but the place we're losing is through Democratic Congress. There's a lot of talk. Where's Bernie Sanders? Why didn't he stand with him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you can get in front of the camera and talk about everybody and talk about everybody from the president down, what can you really do to disrupt that union? You say the State of the Union. There is no union. We're having a civil war. Act like it. But they ain't got the heart of it. They're worried about their $174,000 salary, not to mention all the campaign money all of them are making. Whether it be Democrats or Republicans, it's both. And that's what we're standing with, and that's what we're dealing with. But the good news is the judicial branch is showing up. The good news is the AGs and the governors, including here in Chicago, Pritzker and Raul, who are my governor and AG, they, along with 14 states, are suing the Trump administration to get Elon removed from power. And it's working. You know what happened last night at the union that was powerful? Trump said that Elon was the head of Doge. But DOJ signed an affidavit weeks ago in that 14 state suing. They signed something saying by perjury that Elon is not the head of Doge. But during the union, the President of the United States in his union address says he's head of Doge. They're going to lose that case. If they lose that case, we get Elon removed. But they're going to try to appeal it. Then they're going to try to take it to the Supreme Court. But we're winning. We are winning. It's just sad to see how Congress is acting. There's some wins they've made. You know, there's some protests. It's taking them some time. But, you know, this was a great chance where the whole world could have seen our outrage and speak out. And then the one guy who speaks out, they escort out by the sergeant at arms. We should have did that back in the Biden-Obama days when they disrupted us. My point here is that it's a shame they're not supporting that, brother. And I think that's a cowardly move. And I think that in the long run, it's going to show up. This is why we don't respect the Democratic Party. I may be a liberal, but I don't feel like being a Democrat. That's for sure. I just happen to vote Democratic. What do you think?